Hello explorers and welcome to another video. Today we are going to continue building Linux. So grub is the grand file bootloader, or the grand Linux bootloader. So let's go on to the next one here and we will unpack less. Less is more. That's the the funny comment for that one. We will use the prefix and also the sysconfdir of etc, the standard things here. So the more command will show you some data and then you press space and you get some more. So that's the more command. Less, it's a little bit of a yoke command, but it's actually giving you the option to see more and also go back to see what's happened before. So you can go back and forth in the file when you're reading it. And it's just make install to get less. So it's not that hard to install. Let's take the next one. We need to be able to unpack things. So let's get our gzip up and running. Gzip. And we need to configure this with the standard prefix of USR. Then we will do the standard make check, make install, dance that we are used to. It will take 0.1 M SBUs, so it's also a very fast little build. And the configure should not take that long time either. When you have done this, you will have the gzip, which the gunzip, which decompresses gzip file. We will have gzx, which will execute commands from a gzipped version. Let's see if we can get this up and running. Make check. We can do a make install also. Like that. And then we will have gzip, which compresses. We have uncompress, which decompresses compressed files. It doesn't really matter if it's gzipped or not. It will take other versions as well. So we had a failure here. 2 tests are known to fail in the LFS environment, help version and zmore. So let's see which one was it that failed. This was the... How do I see that best? Which test that failed? It was the help version. So we know that should fail. So let's do an install anyway. And then we can move the gc command from usr bin to just bin. And we have zcat to look list things from gzipped files to standard output, and zcompare to compare things in, zdiff, zgrep, all these commands that you know, but for compressed files. So zless, zmore, and so on. So let's go on for the next one. Now we need to install the iproute too. So let's see here. iproute. And iproute, we first need to do some small things here. We need to delete the arpd from the make file. And we also need to remove one of the files from the, let's see here, from the documentation. The RDP program include in this package will not be built since it's dependent on the Berkeley DB, which is not installed in LFS. However, a directory for ARDP and man page will still be installed. Prevent this by running the commands below. So we will remove those. And we also need to run that Z command to disable building 2 modules that requires host LFS IP tables. Okay, so we'll do that and then make it. So this should make our process less buggy. So let's see here, we will get bridge to configure network bridges. When you are putting two interfaces in contact with each other, so you have network flowing through your Linux system. We have if CFG, and that's a shell script or wrapper for IP command. And IP is a new command to handle setting up different network connections, different network devices, and giving them IP addresses, net masks, and gateways, and so on. So that's the new command for that. And then we have the IP command if stat to see the status of the connection. I did an install here with a doc directory, so it knows where to put the documentation. And yeah, there is a few more commands. You can read about those. Not any of them that I have used. Let's go on for the next command here. We have kbd. Let's unpackage that one. Miswrote here. I'm used to decompress gzip files, so I always put a Z in there, but I shouldn't. So we will go into kbd here. Then we need to patch kbd. So let's do that. Put that in, and I'm having the patches in one directory lower below, and this will change the behavior of backspace and delete keys, which is not consistent across key maps in the kbd package. The following patch fixes this issue. Okay, and then we need to remove redundant resize cons program and the man page for that. So that's what we are doing here. It requires defunct SVGA lib to provide the video mode files for normal use. Set font sizes to the console appropriately. So it will actually make things a lot worse stability wise. Then we need to configure this with the pkg config path of tools lib package config. So we will tell the configuration script where our package config file is, and this we have built before. So this is the program that could actually help us to create configurations for different packages. And then we will have the prefix USR and disable vlock. And vlock is a utility for PAM. Let's see here. I believe vlock is to lock down the current login session, so nobody else can log in, but it requires the PAM library, which we haven't installed, so we will disable it for now. So let's make this. And this is 0.1 SBU, so it should not take that long to make. Let's see here. Do we have any? Yeah, there is a lot of programs here. Let's do a make check. See if I have used any of these. Don't think so. Let's see here. Let's make install, and then we will install the documentation. First we need to create a directory, and then we will copy some files over there. So now we have that installed. Load keys, FG console, dump keys, dealloc, set font, changes the enhanced graphic adapter EGA and VGA fonts on the console. I haven't used these anytime, but I guess that different services might set a specific font for your console. So it's required to have these kind of programs in order to get outputs correct in your console. Then next up, we need to build libpipeline. Let's go for that. Libpipeline. And it's standard configure script with prefix USR. And a standard make check, make install. So there is a lot of standard flow for these packages. And this library is used to safely construct pipelines between sub-processes. So this is what we are talking about earlier, that you can actually create different pipes where you have one output going into the next program's input. And this library will give you that possibility that you can actually use different commands in this way. So it's a very good library to have, and it's also a very good practice that you build something that is small, simple, does one thing and doing it well, and then you can connect these, because most of the programs will create some kind of text output, which you put into another program, which you put into a third program, and so on. So you can actually do a lot of text manipulation in a Linux system without actually writing any code. Next up, we'll create make. And that one we have used a lot. So let's do a new make. And so let's make. And go into the make directory. This is 5 SPUs. We need to delete some lines here in the glob file. It's a workaround for the glibc 2.27 and later. So let's remove those lines. We will do a configure with prefix USR, a standard one that we are well that it's well known by now. And hopefully this configuration will not take that long. And then we will do a make. And the make check needs a specific Perl lib5 directory. So we will actually tell it where the Perl lib tests are. So when these have passed these tests, I will show you the command that I ran. And this command, this package only has the make command, which automatically determines which pieces of a package need to be compiled or recompiled and and then issues the relevant commands. So this is, a build system, which is very commonly used in Linux. So if you haven't make in your system, then you are actually missing out on building a lot of things there. And this is mostly for C programs. There is a CMake, which can build C++ applications and so on. So there is a lot of different versions of make, but the classical GNU make is one that is used most commonly in Linux. And in order to use it, you need to know the syntax of a specific file called a make file. And it's actually with a large M and then make file. It's just one word. So that kind of a file has a very specific structure where you specify which things should compile in which order. And that's a bit hard to actually write. And that's why we have a lot of automated tools to help us out there. So let's see, the test suite needs to know supported files are located. We use the, it doesn't really say that anything should fail. So this is the command that I needed to run in order to get that to work. Did we have any failures during the build? Can't really say that we had that. Open read only file. Let's try it again and see if it works the second time around. Perhaps we need to run this with not in parallel. Might be a problem there. That's one thing I can try later on. Let's just run it one more time without actually piping it on another command. That might be the problem. Completed without any failures. So I'm not really sure what happened the first time here. Strange. Yeah, so let's make install. So I guess that there was something in the parallelism that one file didn't actually close when the make was done. But I think still that was a bit strange. Next up, we need to build patch. So let's do that. We have also used patch to patch up files. So we know well what this is all about. This is also standard configure, make check, make install kind of a workflow, and patch modifies files according to a patch file. A patch file is normally a difference listing created with diff program and then applied these differences to the original files. Patch creates the patched versions. Yeah, so you use this on original files with a patch file, and that will merge those together and apply a specific patch on that file. So it's a very useful tool if you are actually sending out a package over the internet and need something patched. And I will type this out here so it actually will do all the make check and make install commands. I got this question today actually when you should use the main distribution in an Android application and when you should use the patched version. And it's similar to this question here, that patch can actually send out small changes while the standard packages are much larger. So if you are in the case where you have some application that is larger and you just need to tweak something small, then it's very good to send a patch instead. So that was patch. So now we need to install the manual database. Let's go on and do that. Let's see here, xvf and man db. This is a lot of setup for this one. Man db. And here is all the configuration we need. Let's see, copy that over. So we need to set the prefix, we need to set the doc directory, we need to set the configuration directory, we need to disable set UI, enable cache owner and set that to bin. We need to use the browser, which we have set to links. We will tell it where vguard is located, where grep is located, and we will set system d temp file dir and system d system unit dir to the empty directory or empty place. So set UI disables the making man program set UI to user man. So we will not actually give the man program the user man. I guess it will have root then, or perhaps and everyone can use it, even if they are not the man user or the in the manual group, perhaps. And the owner of the cache owner is bin, so this makes the system-wide cache file owned by the user bin. Yeah, so that's good. Yeah, so the other ones there are setting the different paths. I talked about that. Let's continue with the command while I talk here. So this is the standard make check, make install flow, and this will take 0.3 SBUs. The systemd parameters will prevent installing unneeded systemd directories and files. And systemd is one of the daemons that you can install if you like for system management. Non-English manual pages in LFS, so they support Danish, German, English, Spanish, Estonian, Finnish, French, Irish, Gaelic, Indonesian, Icelandic, Italian, Norwegian, Dutch, Norwegian, Nynorsk, and normal Norwegian. So 3 different Norwegian, Portuguese, Swedish, Belarus. So there was actually a lot of them. Let's say they support around 30 languages, and Swedish are in there. I'm not going to use that because it's very confusing to have manual pages in Swedish when the rest of the system is in English. So you have commands here like man, which is very useful. So you can actually type man ls and you will get manual pages for the ls command and learn a lot about that. So if you're new to the Linux environment and want to learn something about any command, type man and the specific command that you want to know more about. That will open the manual page for that specific command and give you a lot more information. I think I will stop here. And this video will be cut into smaller parts. So this will be multiple videos, and I hope that these videos in this series will help you learn a little bit more about the Linux environment, what goes into the Linux environment, what kind of tools and libraries you can find in a Linux environment, what you can do with the Linux environment. If you have any questions about Linux, leave them down in the comment section down below and I'll try to answer them as to my best knowledge. If you like this video, give it a like, share it with your friends and colleagues. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do that. And I really hope to see you in the next video.